Good afternoon. I call the Senate Committee on Local Government Elections Pensions to order. Matt, please call the roll.
Senators Black.
Here.
Henderson.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Bratton. Berger.
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Nicola.
Here.
Nuremberg.
Okay, we have a quorum. I move we go into executive session. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. We are in executive session. I move to bring up House Committee Substitute, House Bill 595 and 343. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. This was the bill that Representative Brown presented last week, dealing with Section 8, other things around rentals, etc. Does anybody have any discussion? I move that we do pass House Committee Substitute, House Bill 595 and 343. Do I have a second? I have a second. Matt, would you please call the roll?
Senators Black.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Beck. Bratton. Berger. Crawford. Nicola. Nuremberg.
By your vote of 5-2, you have due passed House Committee Substitute, House Bill 595 and 343. I now move to bring up Senate Joint Resolution 62. Do I have a second? I have a second. This was the bill that Senator Cierpiot, the joint resolution Senator Cierpiot brought before the committee last week. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I move that we do pass Senate Joint Resolution 62. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Matt, would you please call the roll?
Senators Black.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Beck. Bratton. Berger. Crawford. Nicola.
Aye.
Nuremberg.
By your vote of 5-2, you have due pass Senate Joint Resolution 62. I move that we leave executive session, return to open session. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, same sign. We are out of executive session. First bill on the agenda will be Senate Bill 482. Senator Bernskoetter, please begin when you're ready.
My name is Mike Bernskoetter, representing the 6th District. Senate Bill 482 establishes the counties that border the Lake of the Ozarks would be on the list of counties authorized to establish an entertainment district. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions of Senator Bernskoetter? Seeing none, Senator Bernskoetter, we're going to go see if we got anybody here to testify today.
Yes,
Anyone testify in favor of Senate Bill 482? Please state your name. Have you filled out a witness form and taken care of that?
Thank you, Senator. I have taken care of my witness form. My name is Jeff Abusi. I'm a registered lobbyist for Lakeport Village, which is the owner-developer of the Oasis property that ends at the Grand Glaze Bridge. This property is approximately, this resort's going to be approximately $500 million in investment. It will include a 400-plus room Marriott hotel, along with an amusement park with approximately 10 to 12 rides, many restaurants, bar establishments, indoor water park. This bill that the Senator just described would enable people to come to the park, come to that boundary of this complex, and have open carry from bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, theme park to theme park, without being able to enter into a liquor establishment with that cup. It would have to be disposed of at the entrance. So this would be similar to the Kansas City Power and Light District. It will also be similar to Ballpark Village in downtown St. Louis. This particular resort and property will probably be the largest attraction at the Lake of the Ozarks in the next couple of years. It's under construction at the current time, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions of the witness? None. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else testify in favor? Please state your name. Witness form, ma'am. Do you know about that? Have you turned that in?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Good evening, or good afternoon, I should say. I'm a little ahead of myself. My name is Jamie Rutledge. I am the Marketing and Development Director for the City of Osage Beach. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more of the practical application, what we're looking to do with this kind of legislation should it move forward. And it's especially relevant to the city and the Lake of the Ozarks, where the Lakeport at Oasis mixed-use development is underway. The nearly $500 million lakefront project is expected to require multiple liquor licenses for various year-round amenities, including the Marriott Hotel and Conference Center, a water and amusement park, and multiple restaurants and retail businesses. A potential entertainment district would allow these businesses to operate cohesively, which ensures compliance while creating a seamless experience for visitors. With projected annual attendance of 600,000, the development is expected to have a significant impact on local sales tax revenue. Additionally, major events that already draw thousands, like the Lake of the Ozarks Shootout, the largest speedboat race in the country, could benefit. This August, the event will return to Osage Beach along the Grand Glaze Arm at Dog Days Bar and Grill, which is adjacent to the Oasis development. Shootout organizers aim to evolve the annual event into a block host location between the two locations, utilizing the future Oasis parking garage and marina to support the event. If ever proposed, an entertainment district collaboration between these businesses would not only enhance the event experience, but also bolster local commerce. Another potential beneficiary is the 60-acre Osage Beach Outlet Marketplace, which was acquired by new developers last fall. An entertainment district designation could make the property more appealing to businesses and shoppers, contributing to its revitalization. We've not made any formal commitments to creating these districts if the legislation passes. However, the city is prepared to establish clear rules and ordinances approved by the Board of Aldermen and the police chief, along with a thorough application process to ensure responsible management. And I have spoken with the police chief about this, and we've discussed it in length. And from a public safety perspective, designated open container zones allow for better monitoring and regulation, reducing unsafe or illegal alcohol consumption. These policies concentrate alcohol consumption within defined managed areas. The structure enables local law enforcement to allocate resources more effectively, focusing on key areas without overextending their presence. And additionally, the expanded sales tax base from these developments, particularly mixed-use developments, we do expect to be able to expand our police force. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions of the witness? Thank you very much. Nope. Senator Beck.
Just one. So this also allows you to stay open until 3 a.m.?
It depends on what the ordinance will require. I know some areas do 10 p.m. That is something the city will have to discuss and enforce appropriately.
Okay, because it says 3 a.m. in the bill, so I was just curious.
Well, I do believe that will depend on what the city attorney decides. That may not be the route that they choose to go, depending on our enforcement requirements.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else to testify in favor?
Hello, Mr. Chairman, esteemed committee members. I'm Alderman Justin Hoffman. I sit on City Council in Osage Beach. I echo most of what Jamie just said. However, tourism is 80% of our economy at Lake of the Ozarks. I'm sure you're all very familiar with it. Our small businesses is what drives us. Tourism, small business, that's our 80% of our economy. So the business owners are very in favor of this. The mayor is very in favor of this. The Board of Aldermen are very in favor. And our chief of police and our staff has gone to great lengths to make sure that safety was the #1 concern, and I feel very confident we've addressed that. That's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions of the witness? Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else testify in favor? Is there anyone else? Is there anybody else? Hello, sir.
Thank you, Chairman, committee members. I'm Rocky Miller. I'm a registered lobbyist for Lake Economic Alliance for Development, which is a long title for a bunch of small businesses next to the Bagnell Dam Strip. And so they're in favor of SB482. In fact, this was their idea. And so what it does is it allows Lake Ozark and Osage Beach to pass an entertainment district. It allows for small businesses, at least in my area, on the Strip area, to form the district and then have enhanced services like security, infrastructure, etc. The version also allows for open container in the district. Currently, the small businesses have a hard time enforcing this in the very localized area of the Strip. If passed, the city will protect these businesses, licenses, livelihoods of the owners, and jobs of the workers. And to kind of roll back real quick to the 3 a.m. thing, it's modeled on existing legislation, so it has 3 a.m. in it already on the ballpark village and stuff. I've talked to my clients, and they're not interested at all staying open that late. So it will be dependent on what the city, county, or governing office area decides. Thank you.
Any questions of this witness? Senator Beck.
Has this area been surveyed already?
Many times.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else testify in favor? Going once, gone. Anyone testify in opposition? Going once, gone. Anybody for informational purposes only? Senator Bernskoetter, any closing remarks? Thank you. Senator Trent, did I say you next? Is that what I stated? Please, Senate Bill 478. I think this one deals somewhere in the real estate realm. Is that accurate? Yes. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Curtis Trent, representing Senate District 20. Senate Bill 478 is a measure to modify current license law. It's aimed at providing consumers with greater clarity around services provided by real estate license holders and bring Missouri into alignment with the settlement agreement in the recent case of Burnett versus National Association of Realtors in 2024. This change would essentially clarify that agreements describing duties, obligations, and compensation should be established and documented in writing prior to the onset of services. So this is a very simple, straightforward change. We want all these obligations, duties, and compensation to be established before the onset of services, not during the onset or during the commissioning of the services.
Thank you, Senator Trent. Any questions of Senator Trent? Seeing none, anybody testify in favor? Please come forward. Looks like we got a witness form in our hand. Begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Jason Zamkis. I'm a registered lobbyist on behalf of the Missouri Association of Realtors. This is a very simple, literally it strikes 2 words out of state statute. It would align our buyer's agency requirements with the current law seller's agency requirements, and we'd just like to go on record in support.
Any questions of this witness? Just simple as the 2 of you told me. Anybody else in favor? Gone. Anybody opposition? Informational purposes only. Senator Trent, any closing comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to present. Appreciate the committee's time.
Thank you. Senator Hudson, Senate Bill 547 is what's on my list. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, yes, sir.
Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, for the record, Senator Brad Hudson, representing Missouri's 33rd District, Stone, Taney, Douglas, Ozark, Texas, Howell, and Shannon counties. This bill, Senate Bill 547, is a bill of vital importance to Ozark County and my district. In 2022, the citizens of Ozark County voted by a 2-to-1 margin, with 67% of the vote to implement a half-cent sales tax for the purpose of supporting law enforcement. In early 2023, after the Sheriff's Department and county had budgeted around this new increase, the county was informed by the Department of Revenue that state law would not allow implementation because current law limits the aggregate amount of sales tax levied by a county pursuant to the County Sales Tax Act to 1%. The vote would have taken Ozark County to 1.5%. The sheriff and county government were, of course, shocked when they were notified and devastated that they were going to be faced with cuts to law enforcement without this new revenue. This legislation is specific to Ozark County, and it's specific to the 2022 vote, and increases the limit to 1.5% for Ozark County, provided that any tax in excess of 1% is levied for the purpose of providing law enforcement services, and provides that any sales tax levy approved during the November 8th, 2022 general election shall be deemed to be in compliance compliance with state law if the aggregate amount of sales tax levied pursuant to the County Sales Tax Act is not in excess of 1.5%. This bill would be an immense help to Ozark County. It will not affect the rest of the state and helps reinforce the will of the citizens as demonstrated in the 2022 vote. I'm happy to take questions.
Any questions? Senator Beck?
Yep. Thank you, Senator, for bringing this. So I have, in general, I'm okay with this legislation because we have this throughout the state and we have it in cities and stuff. But the problem I have with it is, excuse me, when they go to get this tax levy increase and they say it's for public safety, and then the city or county can put it in just to a fund, and we're not sure that it actually goes into public safety. It can go to other things. And we've seen this happen, a bait and switch, a lot of times in different municipalities and cities around the state. I don't know if you'd be interested in something like that, but I would love to see that money, you know, proof and advertisement, so to speak. Like if a fire district would do something like this, it goes to the fire district. But when a county or municipality does it, it goes into a fund, and you're not sure exactly they can play with that money. And a lot of times it doesn't go to the, you know, our first responders. And that's something I would like to look at to like narrow down where that money goes. Would you be okay with something like that?
Certainly happy to have conversations about that. I will say, Senator, I've spoken on numerous occasions to the Ozark County Sheriff about this. He wants to use this money to help recruit and retain deputies for the county.
No, I get that, and I'm not just, I would not just be affecting Ozark, I would be affecting the entire state, that if you currently collect that sales tax, it needs to go into a separate fund.
I am absolutely in favor of law enforcement sales tax revenues going to law enforcement, and happy to visit with you about any kind of clarifying language that you might want to discuss.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Senator Berger?
To inquire, please. Are they collecting the tax now, Senator?
No, they are not able to collect the tax.
So they found out before they went into effect that they were not in compliance?
They found, it's my understanding, and the Ozark County Sheriff is here and he will testify, and feel free to ask any questions to him you'd like, but it's my understanding that it was after the tax was approved by the voters, but before they could start collecting it when this was discovered. They had actually budgeted around the increase, but before they were able to actually implement the budget that they had approved, it was discovered that this could not be collected.
Because I've seen these actually being collected on county levels and then wrote up by the auditor to be not in compliance, but the money was actually escrowed. So I was kind of surprised when you said that. Now, the one thing I like about this is just for Ozark County. We need more things in the state legislature that are proprietary instead of the shotgun effect that affects the whole state.
I appreciate that, Senator. And not only is this specific to Ozark County, it is specific to that November 8th, 2022 election where this was approved by nearly 7 out of 10 voters.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions of the senator? Hearing none. Anyone here testify in favor, please come forward. Please state your name and begin. Thank you.
My name is Sheriff Cass Martin. Okay. First off, I'd like to begin with thanking the Senate for allowing me to be here today and discuss this Senate Bill 547. It's very important to Ozark County and law enforcement in our area. Some of you probably don't even know where Ozark County's at. We are a small agricultural county. That's our main industry in Ozark County. With that, you don't see a lot of tax coming into our county government. With that, back in November of 2022, we had implemented, the county government had put together for this tax to be put on the ballot. With the numbers, 67% of Ozark County voted it in. And unfortunately, the problem with us, later on we found out that the ballot language was incorrect. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the sheriff? Yes, Senator Berger.
Will this have to go out for another vote of the people?
No, sir. My understanding that if Senate Bill 547 goes into effect, it will retroactivate that vote that took place in November of 2022.
When you said the ballot language was incorrect, it was just incorrect in the wording that you could collect it, but it was correct that you could vote on it?
That, the way it was worded, it was incorrect. Later on, it wasn't until November, December of 2022 that we discovered from the Department of Revenue that the ballot rent language was wrong, that we were unable to collect on at that time.
Okay. How many people live in Ozark County?
How many
Population?
people?
Yeah.
It's a very small number. I can tell you right now, with our department, we have about 6 deputies. They cover 755 square miles. It's probably the 26th largest county in Missouri. However, we don't have. My biggest problem is without the DSSF, the Deputy Supplement Salary Fund. My guys would basically be in poverty. Right now, without the DSSF, they're making about $28,000 a year. With it, they're at about $34,000. It's hard. It's extremely hard to keep good help in my county. So a lot of the counties around me, like the ones that have the industry, they're bad to pick my guys. There's more money there. There's the better equipment. Currently, we're getting used vehicles, used equipment, just to be able to do our jobs.
So you're a training center for the surrounding counties, basically?
Basically, I am a stepping stone for other counties. One of the big issues is they can get better benefits, they can get a better way of living, better equipment. Right now, my guys have to provide all their own equipment. That means their guns, their belts, their uniforms, everything. They buy it all.
What's a half-cent sales tax generate, do you know?
It would be close to $400,000 to $500,000.
Right now, how much does the county commission, I guess they fund it completely now without the law enforcement sales tax?
Pardon me?
Does the county commission fund it now completely without the law enforcement sales tax?
We get some from general revenue, so we get usually about $200,000 to $250,000 from general revenue from the county. The rest of it's brought in from a half-cent sales tax that was passed years ago, back in, I believe, in probably the early 80s, I believe.
Is the county commission committed to keeping their funding at that level?
Is the county,
Is the county commission committed to keeping their funding at that level once the law enforcement sales tax passes?
From what the commission has said, that they are there to support us. They're there to help us out what they can. Unfortunately, they are definitely strained as well.
Okay. Are you 24/7 on your coverage?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the sheriff? Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
very much. Anyone else testify in favor? Anyone testify in opposition? Whoa, that was close. Anybody testify for informational purposes only? Senator Hudson, any closing comment?
Just to clarify real quick, Mr. Chair, the language did not satisfy statute because it allowed for 1.5%. Statute only allows for 1%. Also, the population of Ozark County is it's around 9,000 people, so very small county, very small tax base. And as you've heard from the sheriff, they could certainly use this. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Senator Hudson. Senator Nicola, and then Senator Schroer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to present my bill, SB510. It's a very simple, straightforward bill. This has to do with a transient guest tax for charter cities that are within a charter county with a population of 100,000 or more. And the city that's in my district, Independence, already has a transient guest tax. But what they're asking for is to be able to reallocate some of the money to be used for the operation cost of a community center. That's pretty much the nuts and bolts of this bill, and I also have a witness that would give testimony in favor for this today as well. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Senator Nicola? Senator Berger?
Who would determine who splits the money? Who would determine that the community center got it instead of the operation and development of tourism?
That would probably be a great question for my witness that would come up.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, any witnesses in favor? Professional.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Chris Schroer, registered lobbyist on behalf of the City of Independence. Greatly appreciate the senators sponsoring this legislation for us to be able to go back to voters. They approved this transient guest tax back in 2002. As the community has grown in certain areas of town, need to provide some services, being a community. They want to host sporting events and think they'll bring in a lot of attention nationally, and put in a theater and going to build this wonderful community facility. They have to get approval from voters to be able to use these funds for the actual operations cost once this gets built. And so that's what they want to use the current funding mechanism that they have, but they just need to alter how they can use it. So the city, when they develop their budget, would decide we're going to put this much money over to operate this once it's built. We're a few years away from doing that, but we want to get this in place so that way it's ready to go when the time comes.
Any questions of the witness? Senator Henderson.
Just a quick question, really just for my edification. So you guys are trying to cash in maybe on some of the youth sports movement and bring in some of the tournaments and such?
That's part of it, what they think they will be able to attract, being in the Kansas City area, a lot of those types of events.
Yeah, they're bringing a lot of money in a lot of different communities. Thank you.
Sir, why do we need this? You've had a Hallmark Christmas movie. Isn't that doing enough?
I actually fell asleep when I watched that movie with my wife.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else testify in favor? Anyone testify in opposition? Informational purposes only. Closing comments, Senator Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Senator Schroer. St. Louis Police Retirement, is that correct?
It is, Mr. Chair. Thank you. For the record, State Senator Nick Schroer from the 2nd District, presenting one of my favorite bill numbers, Senate Bill 357. But unlike the 357, this is not loud. It's not very powerful when it comes to controversy. This is something that we passed last year in the House and the Senate on several different pieces. Real briefly, it just strengthens the definition within the statute of what earned compensation is, earnable compensation, to exclude any monies received through judgments or settlements. And basically, if a court or other settlement pays a member at a different rate than what they paid into the fund, it shall not bind the retirement fund to treat the member at the other rank than what they've already contributed to the fund at. So with that, I know I've got a couple guest experts that are going to come up and talk about why this is very important. But with that, I'd answer any questions.
Any questions of the senator? First person testify in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Senator. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is John Barget. I'm a registered lobbyist for the St. Louis Police Retirement System. As we all know of Senator Schroer's great desire to help the men and women in blue, this is a bill that has been sponsored by and supported by the Police Retirement System, the Police Officers Association, and the Mayor's Office. So congratulations, Senator. That's quite an accomplishment. This bill, as the Senator indicated, merely clarifies that the earnable compensation, in fairness to all of those members who have paid in, should be earned, and if it's a result of some judicial settlement, you can't come back and claim that something else happened to get you a higher pension. You have to have paid into it. And we really appreciate the Senator and you, Mr. Chairman, who really kind of spearheaded this last year.
Any questions of the witness? Thank you. Anyone else to testify in favor? Anyone testify in opposition? Informational purposes only. Closing comments, Senator.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Crawford, I have on my list 492, but if you want to switch it, well, whichever one you want to start with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 492 is fine by me. So I'll start with that one. For the record, Sandy Crawford, District 28. Thank you for hearing this bill, especially to you, Mr. Chairman, since we've had an issue with ambulance districts and things such as that. This bill would, and I'll get to that in a second, this bill would allow the voters of Bates County to pass a dedicated sales tax for the Bates County Hospital of up to 1% to support the hospital services. And like I said, since you know I've been outspoken against the similar ambulance taxes, I just want you to note that Bates County has indeed already passed Wayfair. And with that, I'll take any questions. I think I have a witness behind me as well.
Any questions of Senator Crawford, or want to know what the two of us are talking back and forth with? Okay. Any witnesses in favor, please come forward. Please state your name, sir, and there is a witness form if somebody hasn't let you know. I want to say we rode up on the elevator together.
Yes. Yeah. Mr. Chairman.
Please begin.
Committee, my name is Greg Weaver. I'm the CEO of Bates County Memorial Hospital in Butler, Missouri. And I wanted to kind of give you just a little history, real brief. We already had taken to the voters of Bates County a personal property tax for the hospital under revised statutes of Missouri of 205. And it was, we had an organized group that came against it, farmers and some businesses. And at town hall meetings, they asked for us if they could get a sales tax. We told them we could not do that because of the state statute. And that's where we started in seeing if we could change it and see if we could go to a sales tax. We had numerous comments from our town hall meetings that they were very much in favor of a sales tax but would not do a property tax, especially our farmers. That's kind of where that history come from, is why, you know, we asked Sandy and Dane Deal to help us out on this, and that's where we're at. We're a county hospital. We do not get any tax support. It has not in its 60 years. We also run the local ambulance service, and we do not get any money from taxes at all. And we do not get any general fund from the county commission.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of the witness? Don't see any. Thank you very much. Anyone else to testify in favor? Anyone to testify in opposition? Informational purposes only. Senator Crawford, any closing comments on 492?
No, thank you.
530.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. For the record, again, Sandy Crawford, District 28. Senate Bill 530 would raise the compensation of our circuit clerks around the state. It would change the first-class county's salary to $94,130. That's a $5,000 increase. It would change the second and fourth-class counties to $90,573, which is a $10,000 a year increase. And the third-class counties to $85,565, which is a $15,000 increase. If you look on the bill, it looks like we're giving them like a $50,000 raise, but they simply are not using what's in the statute. They have been appropriated more funds throughout the years, so we're not really giving them the $50,000 increase like it looks like. This bill will also has some cleanup language in it. It repeals the additional salary where in counties where county court is held in two different cities, that being the city of St. Louis and Marion County. They haven't done that for years, and also repeals a provision that allows Marion County to charge an additional $10 fee for child support services. They have not done that for a long time either. And then the final thing it does is it caps it basically says that the circuit clerks' salaries cannot be less than the previous year. And I do have one or two circuit clerks behind me that are going to fill in some blanks for you, and they probably will be happy to answer your questions, or I can attempt.
Okay, at this point, anybody have any questions for the senator? Not, let's have the first person testify in favor. Please come forward. Well, I'll be darned, I know you. State your name, Eric. You got form? Yep. Please begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, fellow senators. My name is Eric Stell. I'm the Circuit Clerk for Sheridan County, and I've started my 19th year in position. I am one of 17 counties in the state of Missouri that's still combined as a Circuit Clerk and Recorder of Deeds. The compensation for Circuit Clerks is currently based on the county classification, and we feel this salary structure is no longer equitable. With no change in base pay and only COLA increases, most Circuit Clerks with tenure of more than 16 years have received an average pay increase of less than 2% per year. This is well below the average for a management position. Each county is allocated FTE, full-time equivalent staff, by the Circuit Court Budget Committee based on a 3-year average of our caseload. In comparing a few counties with similar caseloads but vastly different salaries, I will clearly illustrate the disparity created between those county classifications as a basis for determining the salary of a Circuit Clerk. So Camden County is a first-class county. Their FTE is 15.45. Their salary is $89,300. Pettis County is a fourth-class county operating in second class. Their FTE is 16.43, and their salary is $80,573. Phelps County is a third-class county. FTE is 17.92, and their salary is $70,565. Pulaski County, third-class county, 17.38 FTE, salary $70,565. In these examples, the lowest-paid Circuit Clerks have the greatest workload and the largest staff to manage, while the highest-paid Circuit Clerk is managing the lowest workload and the fewest number of employees. As we well know, the classification of county is based on the assessed valuation of each county. However, that is little relationship to the population of a county, and it's certainly not an indication of the caseload handled by the courts within those counties. Our proposal would create a closer salary range for a Circuit Clerk statewide. One of our biggest responsibilities is to collect fine money, court costs, filing fees, and other miscellaneous fees, and distribute those funds by a specified variety of statutes. The money we collect is distributed once a month, and we must reconcile our accounts weekly, if not daily. And unfortunately, we are not accountants. The Circuit Clerk statewide collected and distributed over $200 million in 2023, and of these funds were distributed to municipalities, the counties, and back to the state. Of that money, over the past 5 years, we distributed $24 million on average back to the state each year. This is a huge responsibility for each Circuit Clerk, yet day in and day out we collect these funds timely and distribute these to the correct entity. It should be noted the overall increase in total cases filed statewide from 2020 to 2023 is 6%. All of this responsibility has spilled over into added stress to the Circuit Clerk and their staff to figure out new ways to become more efficient and effective with their time and talent. To add to the stress, we were required to have dispositions of each criminal case entered within 7 business days to the Missouri Department of Revenue due to the fact that federal dollars are tied to the record of convictions. The approximate fiscal note for this is approximately $2 million, and I would ask for each of your support for this bill in order to adequately compensate the salary that comes with specific duties of a Circuit Clerk and Recorder. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of the witness? I don't see any, Eric. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you, Senator.
Anyone else testify in favor?
Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Phillips, and I'm the Circuit Clerk in Polk County. I've been in the office for 20 years. I'm starting my 11th year as Circuit Clerk. I'm here this afternoon to talk about the way the job of the Circuit Clerk has evolved since the last revision in 1995, 30 years ago. We as Circuit Clerks are the administrators, superintendents, CEOs of the court, if you will. We're the office managers, HR experts, the official record keeper of all court documents, court reporters when needed, accountants being able to reconcile 5 different systems daily, IT specialists, treatment court administrators, expungement experts, especially since Amendment 3 has passed, event planners coordinating venues for trials out of the side of the courthouses, public relations specialists communicating with the public, TV, answering questions, developing, documenting, distributing all this information. We're also on call 24/7, 365. The list goes on and on. While it isn't new for circuit clerks, I felt that it was worth mentioning. Supreme Court Rule 4501 states courts are always open for certain purposes. Because of this rule, we're all on call for emergencies, filings, 24 hours a day. Search warrants, 24-hour holds, ex parte orders, 96-hour mental health orders. It's common to be doing such tasks at various times over the weekend or in the middle of the night. More times than I can count, I've had to go in and meet individuals at the courthouse in the middle of the night and provide them with paperwork from an emergency filing. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it can be very scary meeting a complete stranger in full darkness most of the time when you're alone. Like each of you, we have a responsibility to our communities and voters that put their trust to us to do the job and do it well. It doesn't matter if you're a small office performing these duties yourself or in a large office overseeing every project and making sure it's done efficiently. We need to have the most qualified people in these positions, and we feel our best are not being compensated. During the 2019-22 term of office, 10 circuit clerks left prior to their term ending. In 22, 28 circuit clerks did not seek re-election. In the past 3 months alone, 3 seasoned circuit clerks have taken early retirement or a less stressful job in the middle of their term. Lack of adequate compensation for their rapidly increasing workload and required duties of the circuit clerks was cited as a primary reason for leaving. It's impossible to replace the institutional knowledge and experience that we've lost when circuit clerks choose to leave the office. It's been 30 years, and we believe it's time, and we ask for your support.
Any questions of this witness? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else to testify in favor of Senate Bill 530? Anyone testifying in opposition of Senate Bill 530? Informational purposes only. Seeing none, Senator Crawford.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll be turning the chair over to Senator Henderson.
So next up will be the chairman, Senator Black, on Senate Bill 514. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chairman. Good afternoon, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Senator Rusty Black. I represent the 12th Senate District. SB 514 essentially does 4 things, and the experts are behind me. Removes an employer trustee and replaces that trustee with a retiree trustee on the board. Expands the definition of employer trustee to allow for executive level employees to fill these seats. This is necessary because loggers have struggled to find qualified candidates to fill a seat and believe this will expand the pool of employer representatives on the board. Removes the specific requirements for their annual meeting and election procedures and would delegate that authority to the board. None of the other retirement systems have such prescriptive language in their statute. That authority is delegated to the board. Lastly, this amends loggers' quorum requirements to a simple majority. This will be required because of the changes that are being made to the number of employer trustees. The changes are cleanup in nature and removing obsolete language, and except for Senator Nicola on the committee, I think the rest of you have heard this more than once. This is this second or third time I've carried this piece of legislation to try to get these changes in. That is all, Mr. Vice Chair.
Any questions for Senator Black? Seeing none. Anybody to testify in support, please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for the record, Elizabeth Altoff with the Local Government Employees Retirement System. We want to express our appreciation to the Senator for bringing this legislation forward. As you mentioned, this is something we've worked on with him for a couple sessions now. We just haven't been able to get it across the finish line. I did want to clarify just a couple of the points in terms of what this bill does. We did have some changes to the version of the bill that we filed this year that do not include the changes to the loggers retiree trustee and the annual meeting. So that piece isn't in there in the version in front of you today. But all of the cleanup provisions, as the senator mentioned, are in there. There's 8 cleanup provisions in total dealing with obsolete language, just items that haven't aged well in our statutes over the years. I've been with loggers for 15 years. We haven't had a cleanup bill in that time, so we just have some housekeeping that we need to do. I would just very briefly mention a couple of the items I think that might draw your attention, specifically to the provisions related with COLAs. I just wanted to reiterate, it is just cleanup language. It is not changing anything in terms of how we calculate or administer COLAs with loggers. So that might be something that jumps out to you. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that element of it. Specific to closing investment records, that is specific to proprietary information that is considered trade secrets. We just want to make sure we protect our ability to enter into contract negotiations with our investment managers without trade secrets being disclosed under the Sunshine Law. So it's very tailored and specific to that proprietary trade information. So also just wanted to clarify that on that piece of it as well. I'm happy to answer any specific questions about any of the other provisions in there. As the senator mentioned, both the House and the Senate almost unanimously passed this language last year. We just didn't quite get it across the finish line, so we appreciate the committee's support.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you very much. Anybody else to testify in support? Anybody else in support? Anybody in opposition? Seeing none. Anybody for informational purposes? Senator Black, you're recognized. Closed.
Thank you, Senator. Let's go to Senate Bill 141.
Proceed.
Thank you. Again, Rusty Black, representing Northwest Missouri 12th Senate District. Senate Bill 141 is working, trying to come up with what I'm going to use the word fix, others may use other words, but a way to start putting money back in the sheriff's retirement fund. There's going to be people behind me maybe do a better job historically, but real quickly. A case was lost at Supreme Court level in the state of Missouri that eliminated a $3 fee that was providing the money needed for the sheriff's retirement fund. That happened, I believe, in 2020. And as I've worked in the legislature and these discussions have happened around this, I've been out in the second office, moved a little bit closer and closer to the conversation so I could keep myself informed since the beginning of that time, whenever I was on the Pensions Committee in the House. Some of you remember last year we passed an SJR. It was put on the ballot. It ended up being Amendment 6 that would make it constitutional to be able to collect that $3 fee again. And I can't believe, since I believed in it, the citizens of Missouri didn't and did not pass it. So therefore, that funding stream is gone. And I don't believe that we can probably chase after that rabbit anymore. So we need to come up with a funding source. There have been several things discussed for 4 years around this. This is something that I have brought forward. Representative Hovis in the House and I have been discussing things for nearly 2 years now as other options. So I'm going to go through the bullet points. There's experts behind me and probably people both in favor and against this. But we are at the point. There's no money going into that retirement fund and hasn't been since 2020, only money going out. We either try to come up with a plan to try to make it good, or we see what happens whenever we don't have one. And I think I'll be out of the legislature before it's completely broke. I think that's 7 years, and I'm hoping to make it about another 5.5. So it'll be after I leave. All right, first piece of this that I'm going to discuss is the fee-for-service process that Sheriff's Department do, where unfortunately I know many of you senators never had papers served on you that people wanted to sue you, but of course, you all know me, you know that I have multiple times. I don't know why my mouth gets me in that trouble, but it does. and somebody shows up my house and hands me these papers, or shows up in my office, been twice here, and said, "We want to meet you in court, Senator Black," and I didn't use that nice word. There's a fee that's collected, and it can be up to $50 in statute. Currently, $10 of that fee, up to $50. Each county makes their decision how much. Take $10 of that, and they put it in a fund that helps fund these deputy salaries. And I think we had a sheriff come up just a little bit ago, from Ozark, and talk about using that fund to help increase his deputy sheriff's salary. So that $10 fund. What I'm proposing in this legislation to add another $5. So $10 would go into that deputy fund. $5 would go into the sheriff's retirement fund, completely separated, okay? Then, biennially, boy, that's hard for me, every 2 years, what's in the legislation, we would go to that fund, the deputy fund, and have the ability to sweep. Any of you have been on budgets, you know what that word means. Sweep 50% of that fund. So if there's $2 million in it, every 2 years, we got to the end of the second year, $2 million in it, we could sweep $1 million and put it where? In the sheriff's retirement system, trying to backfill that system. So that's around that bullet point. The employee must donate 5%. Some of you are around here. We made that change a little earlier. Some county decide they'd pay the 5%. Some sheriffs paid the 5%. In the legislation, it says the employee, which means the sheriff, will pay the 5%. Okay? It also has a portion in here where 2% would be paid for by counties. During this discussion in the last few months, there was discussion that counties pay 2% for other employees, so I placed that part in there. So that's about $200,000. 5% is about $500,000. If you want to look at some dollar amounts, somebody can give you non-rounded figures behind me, I'm sure. And then another important piece of this is our jail per diem. Those of us been on budget, we know the discussion around jail per diem. This language includes $2 per day jail per diem that has been reimbursed to the county. Okay? For those of you that have been around, if we already discussed that I could have been arrested more than once. If I get arrested, county feeds me for X number of days, and I make it through the process and finally go to Department of Corrections. The day I go into the Department of Corrections, then the county gets reimbursed for the days I was sitting in jail. And today that dollar amount's $24.95. Somebody may tell me I'm wrong back there, but I think that's pretty accurate. $24.95. And this would take 2 of that. And the way it's written now, if that went to $2, if the state was only paying $2, the sheriff's retirement fund would get that $2. If it goes to $5,000 a day, the sheriff's department gets $2. That's pretty exaggerated, I know. Senator Crawford, you didn't even smile when I exaggerated it that much. Okay, that's basically it. I'll take any questions, but I'm sure there's people behind me that want to speak and want me to be quiet.
Any questions for the senator? Senator Crawford.
Now I've got you right where I want you. You had me before.
Oh, yeah, but when you talked about that bill last week.
As Vice Chair of Appropriations, do you have any thought of pumping up that per diem so it doesn't take more money out of the county's pocket?
Well, there's people behind me that have, in my office, tried to get me to make guarantees.
I know we can't make guarantees.
Okay, that's pretty important. I have a limited amount of money in my checkbook. Have I supported in the past trying to get increases? The answer is yes. The other thing, probably nobody back here knows, and I really didn't have that much to do with it, but trying to get that caught up, that we went through years on. I probably wasn't the squeakiest wheel in the group, but it was something that I wanted to get done before we increased it, honestly, as people were wanting to do it. So do I see this as a way to possibly try to get the state to help increase that and maybe keep feeding it? Yes. But you just said it a minute ago. Can I guarantee somebody that that's going to happen? The answer is absolutely. I cannot guarantee it.
The only thing we can guarantee is that we cannot guarantee anything. Is that
Well, just real quick, when I was first elected in 2016, because it's something that I don't remember whether you were in the legislature in 2012 or not, but myself and two other ag teachers got something passed in this building, and we took a snapshot of 2012 and put that in language. And I told everybody I would be able to fix that, no problem. All I need to do was delete 2012. And I proved myself a liar my very first year because we did not want to pass one piece of education legislation the whole year and didn't get it done.
Any other questions? Senator Berger.
When they make this sweep of the deputy sheriff's salary supplemental, is that going to affect anybody's ability as far as counties are to apply for that grant opportunity?
Well, we're sweeping 50% of it
Right.
in the bill. So I'm going to tell you no, in the fact that we're not going to stop people from coming after that money. If there's some kind of an increase paying out to the deputies, that money will be going out first. It will be at the end of the year, like when Representative Lavender always wanted to sweep the state fair account that I didn't like very well. So if there's money left in it at that point in time, 50% of it will be swept. Do I believe it'll get in the way? I don't. I'm sure there's other people that might say, oh my goodness.
You know, one thing, back in probably 2016 or 2012, we were getting $23.50 per day. Then it was cut back to $20 per day during a certain time. So we went backwards $3.50 per day. I'd like to see something in here to kind of protect the counties where if the prisoner per diem would be cut again in the future, that money may not go to the retirement fund.
What did you do before this job?
County commissioner.
I thought so. A guarantee, right?
You know what I'm saying,
Oh,
though, because let's say we get in budget crunch, which we always in budget crunch, and prisoner per diem goes back to $20 per day, then the county would still be out $2 per day. At some point in time, they have to have little assurance that they can maintain their jails.
Yep.
Just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the senator? Seeing none. Anybody to testify in support, please come forward. Do you have your witness form?
I'll fill it now.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Melissa Lortz, and I am the Executive Director for the Missouri Sheriff's Retirement System. We've been here for the last 2 years trying to figure out a way to fund our retirement system. We currently have 227 people collecting a retirement from us that may or may not have another system providing them an income in their elderly age. We have worked with the senator to come up with a, so to speak, three-legged stool so that we do not have a single funding source going forward. Both of these ideas will help generate the $4 million a year that we need to pay our retirees and their surviving beneficiaries. If we do not find a solution, we will be bankrupt in less than 9 years, and there will be lots of active sheriffs that are currently contributing the 5% to this retirement fund that will not see a benefit from that. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for this witness? Senator Crawford.
Just real quick, whenever you came up with the method to do this, did you have the county commissioners at the table at all, or was that just the retirement? Who came up with the solution, I guess, is my question.
Well, I was asked to bring funding options to the senator, and the senator then asks people to come to the table.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Anybody else to testify in support? Please come forward.
And I'll complete this here. Hello, Senator. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm Dwayne Carey. I'm the sheriff in Boone County, and I'm also the chairman of the State Retirement Board for Sheriffs. Just kind of building off of Melissa's three-legged stool, the big concerns for me, not only as a sheriff, but as the chairman of the board on the retirement system, is I think about all those people that have already retired that are on a fixed income, and I'm thinking about the sheriffs, the survivors with the sheriffs that have already passed, and then I'm thinking about individuals like myself and others, and I'll just use myself as an example because I know it personally, right? But when I ran for office in 2004, over 20 years ago, I was a SURF employee with the county. So we didn't have loggers, we just had SURF. When I was elected, they told me, hey, you got to get out of SURF because you're going into this great new retirement system that the sheriffs have. So I can still remember to this day my wife and I sitting at the table and we're looking at our finances and you're projecting, okay, so if I do 20 years and let's say the salary is this and here's my multiplier, this is what this will bring in. So then this is what we're going to invest, this is what we're going to save based off of this number, right? So now I'm going into year 21 and it's not looking good for me with less than 9 years to go, and I plan on doing 2 more terms. So right when I retire, I don't have the $2.6 million saved that I'm going to need for the rest of my life and the rest of my wife's life because I was counting on this, and it's called guaranteed retirement, right? And so that is no longer a guarantee. So that's a big concern of mine. Here's the other thing. I had a gentleman run against me last go around from California, never has worked in a jail, never has been a supervisor, but his pension in California was a 6-figure pension, right? So he comes to mid-Missouri because 6-figure pension goes a lot longer in Boone County than it does in, say, LA, right? So no experience, he comes, runs for sheriff. Here's the problem that we're going to have. I've got a chief deputy that if I get hit by a bus walking out to my vehicle today could take over and can run this. We've done succession planning. He knows the sheriff's office. He knows the jail. He knows how to run the place. But he's not going to run for sheriff if there's no retirement. He's not going to give up his SURF to run for sheriff. Neither is any other command staff member that I have. So what are we going to have in Boone County, a first-class county? We're going to have a guy from California with no experience that's going to become the elected sheriff because nobody with the qualifications is going to run. And that's the issue with this. And so the last thing that I will say is simply, and I lost my train of thought, but it's simply if we don't get this fixed, we're going to have even more issues going forward. I like the solutions that we have because it's really twofold, right? The sheriff's responsible for civil process, and the sheriff's responsible for running the jail. You know, there's no county commissioner that gets named on the lawsuits when I have a fentanyl death. It's just Dwayne Carey. That's the name. And so those are my responsibilities, not only the civil process, but running the jail. And so I think Senator Black and others that have been part of this, I think it's a good solution because it's directly related to the responsibilities of the Office of Sheriff. And I'll take any questions.
Well, the first question I've got is I just want more of a comment. I've talked to 2 sheriffs in my senatorial district, and they told me the exact same thing you just said. They both have somebody that's been there many years, done a great job, is beloved by the community, thinks they would be good for the next sheriff because the sheriffs are getting close to retirement. And both of them can't afford to do it if the retirement's not going to be there. And so basically the same story you said, we're going to get a lesser person being sheriff because the others just can't afford to do it. So I've heard that from numerous sheriffs. Any other questions for the witness? Senator Crawford. It's good to see you again, Sheriff.
Nice to see you.
I mentioned you not by name, but by position several times this session, trying to get that bill across the finish line again.
That. I appreciate you.
This is just a technical question. We're talking about the per diem. What do you think it costs you to house a prisoner per day?
$82 a day.
82.
Mm-hmm.
That's and you're getting 24 something.
Yes, and then the issue that I have, Senator, is I can hold about 245. And when you look at mental health detainees, I've got 49 of those this morning that are locked down in single cell because they're waiting on DMH and for beds. And then I have roughly about 80 that are being housed out because I'm overcrowded. So I've got them at Montgomery, I've got them Callaway, I've got them Macon, Cooper, everywhere, right? So the issue that I have, and I actually have judges that are wanting me to build a bigger jail. They don't understand it's a $150 to $200 million project. And then where am I going to find the freaking people to go, run it? So when Montgomery's charging me $45 a day because it's a smaller county, right? So they can do it for less. But with Boone, we're right at $82 a day, and we're getting that $24.95 that Senator reported earlier.
I was kind of trying to make a point that we're still not paying you enough, even with the $24.95, and I do appreciate that. And we are trying to work on that mental health issue. As a side note, been working on that some this session as well, so offline. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to come back with one more question. Do you keep any federal prisoners?
No, I do not. I simply cannot. So we're 99% violent felon, and we don't have room for anybody else.
Well, the only reason I bring it up is a lot of sheriffs have been trying to do that just to supplement, so they can get within their budget and try to use that as a supplement because there's a little higher pay for that. You'd know more about that than me. If they keep some of those federal prisoners, and I don't know if that's what we should be intending for our sheriff's office to have to be. So I was just going to bring that forward.
No, it's a great example. I think Cole County does that. Montgomery County Sheriff Craig Allison used to have a federal contract that actually went away, and then that's how I was able to strike a deal with him to guarantee beds for Boone County. So they actually, the one nice thing about COVID is it allowed everybody to learn technology, and so a lot of the court stuff can now be handled via court, via video versus us having to go get them to bring them to court. So yeah, that is definitely something that happens throughout the state of Missouri.
Senator Berger.
Just to kind of comment, and the sheriff will agree with this, but everybody's jails are full. That's why they can't house federal prisoners, because our jails are full, and we're outsourcing them to our neighboring counties.
Yeah.
And the problem, even with the prisoner per diem rate that we get paid back per day, there's a million reasons why you don't get all the days.
Right.
They find every reason under the sun when you submit certified board bill. If you house them for 33 days, you're lucky to get 27. You're lucky to get 26. Some days don't count.
Right.
It's just a debacle, the whole thing. I support the Sheriff's Retirement Fund. I don't know that I support the money coming out of the prisoner per diem part of that, portion of that. I don't know where else we could get it from. I just know that the county struggle to house prisoners. I think our rates need to be extremely, extremely higher, paid back to the counties. Maybe that's where we need to be. But it concerns me if we get in a budget crunch and they start cutting those fees back, that would be bad for the counties on top of that.
No, and I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think that's why we're doing the three-legged stool, right? So if appropriations down one year, we still have money that's coming in. So, the solution, right, is have legislature raise that up a little bit. We get a piece of the pie, the commission can have a piece of the pie, and everybody's happy.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anybody else to testify in support? And proceed.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Kenny Jones. I'm a retired sheriff from Montauk County, and I've never been before a committee that was so in favor of supporting law enforcement. It makes me feel better. But I've been retired several years, and I am fortunate enough that I'm able to do other things in addition to collect my retirement. And there's a lot of retired sheriffs who can't. And more than that, there's widows of retired sheriffs. And some of them don't have anything else, no other retirement system, so they live on a small amount of Social Security because they never made much money when they were in office. And they live on the little retirement that the Sheriff's Association Retirement Fund will provide to them. I quit a good job that I was working for the state and ran for sheriff because it was the right thing to do at the time in the area I was living. And I would not have done that had there not been a guarantee of a retirement. But now I see that retirement looks like it might not last as long as I do. if everything goes all right with me. And like the last sheriff, I might get run over by a truck stepping out of the Capitol, but chances are, the averages are, I'm going to live at least 10 years, and this thing's going to be broken 9. So I'll not have a very good time. It's not really good in the golden years if you're broke, and that's what we're headed for with the people who gave up they really sacrificed to do the right thing and support the people in the counties and take care of them.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you very much for taking the time to come up here.
Thank you.
Anybody else to testify in support? And if you haven't filled out a form, would you please do so? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is David Parrish. I am the Sheriff of Lewis County, here on behalf of the Missouri Sheriffs United and the Missouri Sheriffs Association. I appreciate, and I know our membership appreciates, the leadership of Senator Black and Representative Hovis in bringing this to the forefront. 42 years ago, the Senate and the House came together and made an investment in the office of sheriff. They knew that a retirement system that was strong would support public safety, not just the individual who happened to be that sheriff. This same question is now before us again. And just like those sheriffs and those legislative bodies in those days, we have to become competitive and work together to make sure that the office of sheriff remains strong. I have been a sheriff since 2000. I am like the sheriff of Boone County. I've been around a while. We are in the same boat together in coming to the ends of our careers and looking and wondering if that same benefit will be available to us that was available to those sheriffs 42 years ago. This bill is a positive first step to ensuring the integrity of the office. State law requires that sheriffs are the central cog in the wheel of justice. We not only do the civil process, we provide court protection to state employees. Your judges, your circuit clerks are protected by our membership. These are the types of roles that I call the hidden responsibilities of the sheriff. These are the things that must continue. We understand our role. We take on that responsibility gladly. We hope that you can work together with the House and with the County Commissioners Association to ensure that this problem gets fixed sooner than later. We appreciate your service, and we thank you very much for your time. And I'll entertain any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Anybody else to testify in support? Seeing none. Anybody in opposition? Seeing none. Anybody for informational purposes only? Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Joe Gildehouse. I'm the Warren County Presiding Commissioner, and I'm also the President of CCAM. I'm here to testify today for informational purpose only. We have not been able to fully assess this proposal and language in the new Senate substitute and their effects on the 109 counties that CCAM represents. Our board received the latest Senate substitute last Thursday afternoon, and it was emailed to the other members of the commissioners late on Friday. It's also very important here today to clearly state we, the commissioners, are definitely for the sheriffs. We are not opposed to helping them to come to some sort of resolution for their retirement funding issue, and we are not opposed to working on a compromise. But to do that in good faith, we need to be at that table. All stakeholders should be at this table. This is a significant issue that has started to move over the last many years, and it only makes sense that the commissioners should be involved. Our association has been coming to the Capitol for years. Our main goal is to let the commissioners that we are available as a resource
and welcome any communication that will help us all work together for the state of Missouri. Every county is different funding levels, different budgets, and different strains on their budgets. Numerous bills have been in this session that could be really negative an impact on our county's budget. It would be important to understand what a fiscal impact of this legislation would be on a county's budget, especially when coupled by any other bills threaten to take more money out of the county's coffers. Each time legislation is passed that cuts revenues from the counties, a direct impact is on our services, and that is fire, police, first responders, and our sheriff's department. This brings us back to an important issue at hand and why we are requesting to be allowed in these discussions. Please consider us as a resource, and ask us, please allow the County Commissioners Association at a seat at the table. Next week, the Sheriff's Association is having their conference up in Jeff City, and I know Sheriff Pelton very well. I talked to him about 40 minutes on the way up here this morning, and so Sid Cochran and myself are going to have the opportunity to go speak with him, try to work something out with him next week. And again, lastly, I thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
Any questions? Senator Crawford.
If we passed a bill that did away with personal property tax, would that negatively affect your county?
Personal property tax, as far as us, probably not, but the schools and stuff like that, absolutely.
What about if we repeal the food tax?
That would close down a lot of, our sheriffs would be in trouble.
What about
911 would close down.
Did Senate Bill 190 have any effect, or will it have effect in the future for your revenues?
You know, we are in that right now, taking applications, Senator, right now. I don't think right now it's going to be a tremendous amount, but as we go forward, I think the numbers are going to go up.
And I think there was also a bill to cap all property taxes. Would that affect your county?
Absolutely.
So obviously I'm trying to make a point here. And since I live with the county commissioner, he gripes at me every single day about this. And I told him he's stressing me out. But my point is, we love a good tax cut. Everybody loves a good tax cut. But the problem is that we don't sometimes stop and think about what it does do to our counties. And I mean, there's numerous bills, just like you mentioned this year, that are going to have a negative impact. And you know, you have quite a bit bigger county than I live in, but we have like a $13 million budget, and it's thing after thing after thing. And it's not any one thing, but if you cut everything, well, as my husband says, here, you take the keys and you figure out how to run the county. So I was just trying to make a point, and it's not really necessarily to do with this bill, but I do want us to stop and think about how much stuff we are pounding back down to you. It's thing after thing after thing, and we're going to bankrupt our counties at some point if we don't quit shoving stuff back to you.
I thank you on that. I'm fortunate enough because the sheriff is my best friend. He got me in this position. So,
and I love our sheriff. I love all my sheriffs too, and that really has nothing to do with this at all. But I was really trying to make more of a point. So
it is. That is exactly right. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else for informational purposes?
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Stephanie Gooden. I am Associate Commissioner in Saline County and past president of the County Commissioners Association. And sorry to run you two off, but no, I'm teasing. I am not a sheriff, but I play one on TV. No, I'm teasing again. But I just wanted to speak on behalf of Saline County, and then how fortunate we are to have such a good sheriff in all of our counties, and we definitely support our Sheriff's Association. However, every county is different. Every county is funded differently. And to take our per diem, or to talk about taking part of the per diem, is a little scary to me as a county commissioner. We currently, it costs us $80 a day to house an inmate. We get $24.95, as we mentioned earlier.
And it is my understanding that approximately $120 is reimbursed to the Department of Corrections. So we are still far behind what it takes to house a technical Department of Corrections inmate. So that gap is very wide. We've been working for years to get that per diem up to where we believe it should be, equal to what the Department of Corrections gets as a reimbursement for their inmates. Like I said, we definitely want to support our Sheriff's Association, and I want to go back to a couple of things that I heard mentioned directly related to jail duties of talking about civil service. While I agree with that, in Saline County, we had to put in $1.45 million to supplement our jail because we are lacking, and that came from our general revenue. So again, with the per diem and the money going to civil service, we've got to find a solution. I'm not sure at the time what the solution is, but if you bring the County Commissioners Association together with the Sheriff's Association and the Sheriff's Retirement Association, I'm sure we can find a solution. And I commend Senator Black for bringing this bill to the floor and bringing it to the attention of everyone. It is a dire need, but we have to come together together and not just work at this independently. And the county commissioners have the numbers. We have other options that we'd like to present, and we'd just like a seat at the table, please.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Anybody else for informational purposes? Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm Gary Youngerman. I'm the presiding commissioner of Callaway County. I'm going to take up much of your time. They've hit a lot of the bases, but I wanted to just say this. I'm sure most of you are aware. A number of counties in the state do not have jails. So there's other counties that take those prisoners. When we start talking about this per diem thing, Senator Crawford hit, what maybe we should be getting versus what we are getting. And then there was talk of the Boone County Sheriff, how he's sending them to other places. Those numbers could change for them, as far as cost. Because if prisoner per diem dollars stay the same and you take away two, other counties are going to try to figure out how to make that up to some degree, and maybe in cost of taking those prisoners. I just bring that up. Just to let you know, Callaway County, we average about the same amount of money, roughly. It does vary a little bit on how much prisoner per diem we get per year, but we have about the same prisoners in our jail. And so I did the math a while ago, and out of that prisoner per diem money, and we're a county that's blessed in some ways, but there's other counties that aren't. They bank on that. They actually rely on that money in their budget, that prisoner per diem money every year to make their budget. But for me, that's going to be about $30,000. Now, doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if that happens in some other counties, that could be detrimental to what they're trying to do. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming. Anybody else for informational purposes only? Seeing none, Senator Black. Senator Berger, do you have a question?
I have one question. If private servers serve the papers, do they still deposit the $5 to the DSSS? Is only if the sheriff serves the papers? Okay, thank you.
Senator Black.
Thank you.
With no other business before the committee, I make a motion that we adjourn. All in favor? And we are adjourned.